This has been one of the things that's really bothered me this past year. Uh, you have to remember everybody talking about AI didn't know, didn't have a clue what AI was until the end of 2022. So we are at the end of the third year after it's come into play. And when you think about it, what's ended up happening? Well, everybody's an expert. Now, the ones that I do consider experts are people that have been involved in machine learning for decades. Okay, so I used to teach it at UIC as part of the modeling class for reliability. I'm sorry, industrial engineering back in the late 1990s. Did a little bit of it in 1996, and then dabbled in stuff related to it earlier than that while we were doing modeling. Heavily involved in it, including some work we did on time to failure estimation techniques with certain technologies like the John Deere 944 tractor motors, things like that. So we'll cover some of that. We've covered some of that. Not we are going to, but we did. But so since all of this, there's a tool that we use in data science and data engineering and all this other stuff, right? So the new verbiage that people were aware of but didn't become popular until the past few years, in which every marketing person and every whatever, if you say AI, da da da. So neither here nor there. It's something called a situation where you have data and there's spots of data missing, like something didn't come through right, there was an error in it, whatever. So you basically bridge it by having the system come up with some placeholder data based upon the pattern so it holds the pattern. Okay, I just did a measurement and verification study last week, and part of what I had to do was go, okay, there's some definite outliers that are impossible. So we blended it in, but what we did is we had to notch that out. We had to call it out that there was synthetic data. We had to call it out on a few other things and then block it out so that it was not used as part of our calculation for energy savings, right? But then in the graphic, it didn't cause, this huge spike or huge opposite that would cause the graph that would show the information that we needed to present, as being a straight line instead of all the variations that existed, right? So that's referred to now more and more as synthetic data, and it's being presented as if that's good stuff. We're seeing CMMS systems and everything else where they say, we use generative AI to come up with missing data, which means that they're actually using that data for exactly what it's not supposed to be used for, which is replacing huge gobs of sensor data, assuming what the human being was doing when they were entering data into a CMMS. And now we're finding out that it's being used in some systems out there that are being used for predictive maintenance or condition-based maintenance monitoring to fill in blanks or make up what something's supposed to be in order to develop a digital twin. Now, I'm all about digital twins, but digital twins are supposed to be monitored off of real data so that you can go in and do different things and see what would happen if. And we do that all the time. But as I taught, and as most people involved in modeling know and state, unless they're out to get grant or sell something, is every model is wrong. And it's wrong deliberately. So, in effect, if I sit there and I model a machine and say this is what it's supposed to do, fine. But it doesn't take into context what I'm working with. So this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves. And some of the coffee I had, like, well, we'll say just like the USS Wisconsin's coffee, where I went a big thumbs down. That was the worst coffee I've ever tasted, the whiskey. I don't know what it was supposed to be, But I think that it was never supposed to be drank. You weren't ever supposed to drink it. You were supposed to put it on a shelf, I think. But it was god awful. In any case, I think the same thing. I have done things in the past where we created biased models in order to develop certain things for monitoring, and it was deliberate. It was outlined. We told people what it was. We identified the issues that were going to come from it. We built into the software how to work around it. We didn't present it as that was real life. Okay, so that is really, really, really important. When it's presented as real life and it says we will call things based on that and we're extremely accurate, they're not. They can't be. Okay?